Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Football Terrace. What an exciting last 24 hours we have had as football fans in general. Tottenham trying to hijack the Bruno Fernandes deal, Arsenal revealing Nicolas Pepe, Man United coming to an agreement for Harry Maguire, making him the most expensive defender in the history of football. And of course, we'll touch on all those subjects a little bit later on in the stream. But the main reason we are here is to talk about the Paulo Dybala swap deal, taking him from Juventus to Manchester United. There were a few technical reasons that things have been held up, and we're going to delve into them in a bit more detail. And I'm actually quite glad this has happened because it gives us a real opportunity to delve into why, when fees get agreed, it can still take sometimes 2, 3, 4 days, sometimes weeks to get a transfer completed. So we're going to delve into all of that as we go through this video. But before that, please do me a big favour and hit that like button, and please hit the share button as well. It's the very best way that you guys on YouTube can support us. Aside from that, a big shout out to our title sponsors, the Football Index. If you do want to get involved in the footballer's stock market, use our promo code Football Terrace and our exclusive link in the description below to download the app to start building your portfolio of players. I've got another video coming out on Sunday about the Football Index, another kind of tutorial going through what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. Justin here says, what are your thoughts on Lukaku leaking that video? We'll touch on that in a little bit. We really will. But of course, as already mentioned, an excellent day yesterday. The most important position that United needed to fill this summer, even more important than AWB, a midfielder, getting rid of Deadwood. The most important thing United had to do this summer was sign a top-class centre-back, and that has now been done. Harry Maguire is coming to Manchester United, and the salt is real. You can smell the salt. You ever go to the seaside, you can smell the sea air. You can smell the salt in the air. That's all I felt for the past 14, 15 hours. There are a lot of rival fans that are frustrated that United have got this deal over the line. So now they're talking about the mediocrity of Harry Maguire and overpaying and blah. And my message here to Man United fans is this: don't fall for it. Don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for the hate. Don't fall for any of the dead banter that's coming out of these people's mouths. Learn and understand how the transfer market has evolved, the huge inflation that has happened in football over the last 4 years, and hugely in the last 18 months. Players are now more expensive than ever. So yes, Harry Maguire seems like an extortionately high amount of money, but remember when Pogba signed for Man United for 89 million, and one thing Jose Mourinho said about that deal, which is always rang true, is that will look like a bargain in a few years' time because of the way the transfer fees are going to go. A world-class player over the next 18 months is not going to transfer between a club for anything less than 120 to 130 million pound bare minimum if they have a substantial period of time left on their contracts. You saw, for instance, this summer Eden Hazard moved for 90 million. It's only because he had a year left on his deal. If he had 4 years remaining, that's 150, 160 million pound transfer. And I haven't claimed for a second, and no Man United fan is claiming that Harry Maguire is world class. That's why he's available for 80 million. The world class centre backs out there are 120 million plus. So when you put it all into context and you understand the ecosystem of which these transfer of assets sits in, it all makes sense. So don't allow a rival fan to try and banter you and throw you off kilter. It's a wonderful piece of business. Now, let's talk about Dybala, because again, there's been such conflicting stories thrown out there. The first thing I'll say to you, in my opinion, any story talking about him being disillusioned with joining Man United, unhappy, going to reject us, all this stuff, I can't buy into it. And the reason I can't buy into it is over 48 hours ago, he sent his agent to England to negotiate with Ed Woodward and Manchester United. His agent is still in London and was in Mayfair yesterday having further conversations with lawyers, with Manchester. He was in London talking to Man United. He had lawyers with him. Man United's lawyers were there. And of course, we have now seen an FRM company or the FRM company come involved. My understanding is it might actually be Fidelity International. I'm doing some research on that, but I'm trying to get that 100% confirmed because there are some technical issues surrounding the image rights of Dybala which are holding up this deal. So this nonsense that he doesn't want to join Manchester United, that we're not the club for him, that's crazy. I mean, just think about it logically. If you've got absolutely no desire in joining Man United, and you're going to look, and you know that Juve, by the way, do not want you. They have cancelled all conversations. They've told him straight that we want to get rid of you. Your agent isn't going to sit in London talking to Manchester United Football Club for 2 days, 3 days. You'd want him out there actively finding you a club that you desire and really want to join, right? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever for these stories saying he doesn't want to join Manchester United. His agent is still here. They're still working hard on getting this deal done. The big hold up in getting this announced. So this Dybala is very likely to happen. The only thing holding it up is there's an FRM company who own the rights to Paulo Dybala's image. They own his image rights. So they did own his image rights between 2017 and 2018. I've read a couple of conflicting reports, so I'm just going by what we've been told. During that time, the contract was breached. So Dybala has clearly done some piece of marketing work or some kind of commercial activities which was in breach of his image right contracts. And this company have sued him for £40 million. Clearly he's earned money and other companies have earned money from it and they haven't had their cut, so they've sued him. They have also sued him because he broke some agent rules as well. So there's around about a €40 million lawsuit going on involving Dybala. So what has now happened? Because when Manchester United buy some football players, their player cards and their image rights can sometimes be owned by multiple companies and multiple agents and football clubs. It happens a lot more on the continent than it does in the UK, but that's what's going on. Manchester United, this is the only sticking point with the deal. Manchester United will want to have 100% control of the player card and will want to have 100% control of the image rights. And we spoke about this a few days ago when people, Arsenal have got the Pepe situation sorted. Why has it taken for 4 or 5 days to announce it? Because often clubs are sorting out the legalities. They are working out who owns what image rights, who the player has commercial agreements with, what the agents need. What's the trickle effect? You've also got to look at it from a compliance angle. There's an anti-money laundering situation that goes on as well. And there's due diligence that needs to happen because let's just say a his image rights are owned by Joe Bloggs Limited. But Joe Bloggs Limited is funded by somebody whose money Manchester United don't want to get involved with. So maybe, I used to see this in banking all the time. You'd often have, away from football, you would have this. So actually, now I can give it a footballing example. There was an agency that wanted to come and bank with us, and they had quite a large amount of money, and they wanted to bring their business to us. So during our due diligence process, we found that when they first started as a business, there was a large amount of money injected by a private equity firm. We then had to find out whose money from the private equity firm was used to come to us, and we found out some of the donations or some of the investments into this private equity firm came from people in industries that, as a bank, we didn't touch. So there were certain industries, like the arms dealing, as an example, actually gambling, anything from the sex industry. The organisation I worked for didn't want any money in their organisation from those businesses. Whether they were legal or not was irrelevant. It was a moral decision. So all these things happen internally at football clubs as well. So what will happen is the club need to find out who owns what, who these companies are, what they can and can't do. Equally, this company that has sued Dybala have contacted Man United and basically said, look, we've sued him for 40 million. We haven't had any money. We either want you to pay it or Dybala to pay it. So of course it's going to hold things up because Man United cannot just. They may not be able to legally own his image rights. And if they can't own his image rights, they're very unlikely to complete on the deal. There will probably be a happy medium at some point arranged. Man United will probably part with some money. Dybala will probably part with some money, and it'll all go to sleep. The 40 million euros that's being touted about is probably um, a very what's the word, ambitious amount of money to go after, and they're probably looking for an out of court type settlement, which is likely to happen. So that is the only thing that's getting in the way. Really credible media reports from Damasio and Fabrizio Romano talking about the player. He may still be a Juve player at the beginning of next week, because one thing I do know about dealing with businesses in Europe is that weekends are almost impossible to get things done. There's a lot of downtime. Where I think over here we'll just crack on. We'll work for a Saturday and Sunday like it's a normal business day. So it's very unlikely that any announcement is going to happen today or tomorrow, but it's more likely to be Monday. But the credible journalists are telling us that the deal is likely to go through, that the player is at some point in the next 24 to 48 hours is going to leave Italy and come to the UK, ready for the deal to be completed, then to undergo his medical. We know that Harry Maguire is having his medical today, Saturday the 3rd of August. And what most people are hoping for at Manchester United is to have this situation with Dybala concluded by the 5th, maybe the 6th at the absolute latest. At the same time, this little situation, Woodward won't be involved in this negotiation. This will be down to the lawyers to get done now. It gives Woodward the opportunity to work on getting rid of a few bodies out of the club. Of course, Alexis Sanchez is up for sale. Who's going to go out of Jones, Smalling and Rojo? There's a Darmian situation to get resolved as well. And of course, there's the Bruno Fernandes situation to tackle. So there's so many little aspects of this Dybala deal. But what we know is that it's a genuine deal. It is very, very close to happening. So very, very close to happening. And it's something that Man United fans should be exceedingly proud of and excited about, because Dybala is a true world-class talent. Ali G here says Bruno is a must. Look, I agree with you. I'll be very disappointed if we don't sign Bruno. But we needed a replacement for Lukaku if Lukaku was going to be sold, and this is part of it. And remember, Man United are done now negotiating. Prices agreed for Dybala, personal terms agreed with Dybala. Juve are happy with the situation. Lukaku's agreed everything in the other direction. This is all about the legalities now. So the lawyers and solicitors from all three parties involved, or maybe even four parties really, because Juve will have a say in this as well, will sit down and negotiate and resolve this matter. The likes of Matt Judges and Woodward, no, it's not their area of expertise, and this is where lawyers come in, and this is where they earn their thousands of pounds an hour to come in and resolve these legal matters. Terry, you are so desperate for your team to sign players. Maguire is a decent signing, but not worth the price. Listen, I've heard that about every player we've signed this summer, and I don't care. I don't care what people think. There is this look. Harry Maguire is a top class player, and listen, I get that Liverpool fans will throw salt and Arsenal fans will throw salt, but I covered quite an in-depth detail. UFF and I covered the World Cup very closely last year, if you remember. And I'm telling you, Harry Maguire's name was being sung from every pub, every club. It was trending before, during, and after every single England game. He was being serenaded by fans. Slab had become a thing, and it was funny, and everyone loved, and everyone raved, and everybody rated him. All throughout last season, I saw praise for Harry Maguire. He suddenly gets heavily linked to Man United, and he's overrated. We have seen the same thing with AWB, overrated. Same thing with Dybala, oh, he's overrated. People talking about Dan James as, oh, that lad from Swansea, that choir boy from Swansea. Like, let people do it. It's one of those things. If that's your true, genuine opinion, you're entitled to it. But I know how good Maguire is. Equally, I'm not going overboard. I don't think that he's better than Van Dijk. I don't think he's better than Vertonghen. I don't think he's better than Laporte. I don't think he's better than Koulibaly. I don't. But he's still one of the best defenders in Europe. Simple as that. And the one thing I have noticed is it's the same as everybody's negative reaction to Nicolas Pepe going to Arsenal. They're trying to find a way, you know, yes, they're paying for it in instalments. But actually, I found this out the other day, and even I, who work in football finance, wasn't completely aware of this, that a large amount of transfers are actually done in instalments. It's quite a common practice. But it's been focused on in this Nicolas Pepe to Arsenal situation because because people are trying to put a dampener on Arsenal signing Nicolas Pepe. They're looking for the negatives in it. Oh, they did it in instalments. And now we've all had the joke about, on nectar points and all this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, the only reason people are bantering it is because it scares them. It scares rivals that Arsenal have signed somebody so talented. And the same is being said here for the Harry Maguire situation. Steve ZZZ95 there with a super chat. Thank you very, very much. But my man, you haven't left the comment side. There's nothing for me to read out, but thank you. Bruno might be next because the Dybala deal doesn't involve money. That's from JT. Yeah, the Bruno Fernandes situation is interesting. Tottenham obviously tried to hijack this deal. They were rejected by the player and club, club being Sporting Lisbon. So we don't really know what's going to happen. Are they going to come back in with more money? Maybe, maybe not. But United is still in for him. And one thing that's been consistently, by the credible journalists, one thing that's been consistently pushed out is that the Dybala and Bruno Fernandes deals are mutually exclusive from each other. They are not dependent upon each other. It's not either or either. Manchester United are trying to sign both. That's it. Simple fundamental facts. Kirk here says, could I have a recap, please? We'll do a little bit of a recap for anyone who's new to tuning in. Essentially, Man United are very, very close to signing Paulo Dybala. All agreements between the clubs have been met. Agreements between players and Manchester United, Lukaku and Juve have been met. The only stumbling block, the only hurdle in the way now is resolving some image right issues. FRM company owned for a period of time the image rights of Dybala. He's reportedly breached his contractual agreement with them, leading to them suing him for £40 million. And they have basically made contact with Man United and Juve, and they're saying, well, someone's got to pay us this money. We want it, and there's a legal, and legally we're entitled to it. So that's now being investigated by all and sundry. The lawyers are all over it. It's going to probably delay things by 2 or 3 days, but everything else is essentially agreed to. So it's very positive news for Manchester United. Terry, who would you have more, Bruno or Dybala? Look, honestly, Ski, that's a really good question. If I had to choose, if you put the gun to my head and you asked me to choose, I'd pick Bruno Fernandes because I think the midfield needs it. But I want both. I'm being greedy here. I don't care. My club's got the money. My club needs it. And we should be able to get both done. And if we decide not to get both done, I will be frustrated at Woodward. Someone here says, I hate lawyers. Why do you hate lawyers? What have lawyers done? I'll tell you what now, my life would be very different without the lawyers that I've had to use. Is it a straight swap? I've heard news of Mandzukic. Well, I've heard Mandzukic might be included in it, so we could be getting 2 players for Lukaku, which I think is amazing. Can you imagine? I don't even know what they're smoking in Turin. Can you imagine saying to Man United, yeah, well, can you give us £10 million and Lukaku, and we'll give you Dybala? And we're like, yeah, of course we will. A couple of days later, they're getting so desperate, right, Juve, they're like, yeah, listen, don't worry about that £10 million. We'll just give you Dybala for Lukaku. Brilliant. Cheers, that's amazing. Woodward gets up yesterday morning, has a glass of orange juice, cracks open his boiled egg. You know there ain't no salt and pepper on that. That's just a plain egg, that. But you know that guy eats plain food, right? Anyway, cracked his egg open, dips his soldiers in. There's a phone call. He's like, hello. He goes, hello, it's Juve here. Oh, hello. You guys all right? What's going on? We want to talk to you about the Dybala swap deal. He's thinking, oh, no. He's thinking, oh, God, they're going to pull out. We would like to know if you'd be happy to change the deal. What are we changing it to? Listen, we're still going to give you Dybala. We still don't want any money. But what we thought we'd do is throw Mandzukic in as well. Of course. Can you imagine? Like, they're literally, what's going to happen? They're going to throw Ronaldo in next, aren't they? They're going to go, look, have Ronaldo as well. Like, it's almost like, it's like sabotage. Someone's destroying the club. I'm joking. But look, Mandzukic, look, do United need him? Maybe, maybe not. Good target man. Could be a great plan B for the club if we're in games where we are struggling to break people down. Um, but I'm just really excited about Rashi and Martial taking that central role. I really am. I really, really am. Let's do a few things here. Man says he eats eggs without salt. It's yeah. No, I'm just saying. Like, even when I fry an egg, maybe I'm different for like a white English guy. When I fry an egg, I put some kind of I sprinkle a little bit of seasoning over it. When I cook any kind of meat, I marinate it. I season it to like levels. Like I'm not talking about I just a little salt shaker over some plain white. I season my veg. I season my meat. I pretty much season everything. I thought that was normal as well, by the way. And then I moved down to like Surrey. It's not normal to do that. Honestly, down here, these white folk don't season their food, you know. Like, I was making spaghetti bolognese not long ago, and I was mixing in some herbs, and I was using different sort of. I was using a varying degree of seasoning, and I was mixing it into the meat before I cooked the meat. And everyone's asking me what I'm doing, and I'm like, I'm seasoning the meat. They're like, you don't need to do that. And they're like, just put the dormio in, just like the jar of sauce. And I'm like, nah. And I also add things to the jar of sauce because I'm like, we need to add some extra flavour. But yeah, I'm standing outside your flat, Terry. All right, Dan. Come up for a cup of tea then, bruv. Someone here says Surrey's where you can afford solar panels for your roof. David, it's funny. I've actually just inquired about having solar panels put onto my roof. My train of thought is, are they solar panels behind it? Oh yeah, there's solar panels there as well. They're not mine. Yeah, my train of thought is to get solar panels put on my new house, and the extra energy that will make will heat my pool. It sounds so pompous, but I don't care. I'm working class and I've done okay, so I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy the finer things in life. That's why we work so hard. Anyway, let's do this. Tyler here says salary dump by Juve. Very smart, actually. They have to take care of Ramsey and the other new signings, who will get more game time than Mandzukic. No, I understand what they're doing on a real level. I'm just talking about it from Man United's point of view. The deal keeps getting better and better. There is also talk about Darmian still going in the other direction, which, honestly, if we got Mandzukic and Dybala and they got Lukaku and Darmian, I'd be quite happy with that as a swap. I really would. I mean, Darmian's not going to really play. That's AWB's position now. I mean, one of the best left backs in the league. And interestingly as well with these signings, if we look at it from a defensive point of view, I said this yesterday, and again, the salt. I can smell the salt. I can taste it. It's so strong from our rivals. It really is that United conceded over 50 odd goals last season. I'm not sure the exact amount. I guarantee you now, as long as everyone's fit, with AWB and Maguire joining our team, David De Gea with a new contract, right? United are not going to concede more than 35 goals. And it depends what games you concede. Last season, if you took 20 goals we conceded and took them away last year, 52 goals, someone put, yes. If you took 20 of those goals away, if we conceded 20 less goals last season, we make the top four. So Maguire and AWB already take us to that next level. We will make, with these signings, the top four. I know we will. Making the top four, and this is what you've got to talk about when it comes to spending money, right? Speculate to accumulate. Just getting back into the Champions League, winning more games, finishing higher up in the league, will generate an extra 70, 80 million pound in revenue for the football club. So over the course, and if we continue to stay in the Champions League, over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, these transfers pay for themselves just by new prize money and new TV money that comes in. So there's such wonderful investments. Everybody that's come to the club so far is of a decent age, mid-20s or younger, meaning that you get a much longer period of time. And if we can complete these next two signings of Bruno Fernandes and Dybala by the end of this window, it's a fantastic start to life under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It really is. When are Man United offloading any Deadwood? Yeah, David, I hope that happens. Maguire has worse stats than Mustafi. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. So statistically, he's pretty, but then that's where it all falls down. So yes, if you look at the stats of Mustafi versus Maguire, I think Mustafi has like he's won more tackles, he's more clearances, more interceptions, da 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 da. It's great, but he also has more than Virgil van Dijk. So it doesn't. So if you're basically saying Mustafi's better than Maguire because his stats are better, if his stats are also better than Virgil van Dijk, you're saying he's better than him, and that's where stats play a part to let you understand how good somebody is. But it comes down to everything else. And Mustafi does a lot of good things on a football pitch, but you know there's two or three mistakes a game in him that are going to lead to goals or potentially lead to goals. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like for me, some people have shown me a number of stats where Maguire outdoes Van Dijk. Great and well done in that area, but he ain't better than Van Dijk. Only a forward suggests that. The same as only a forward suggests that Mustafi is better than Maguire. And I just don't get involved in that kind of football banter because it's pointless. Pointless. I think Dybala would be better on the right wing. I don't know. I don't know. She's doing his stream before his kids get up. So glad about Harry. He's a leader. Every day same. Yes. Well, no, the kids are awake. What are they watching? The Smurfs. Yeah. So I let them. I always let them watch a little bit of a film in the morning when they're eating their breakfast. Because I kind of did two breakfasts. I let them eat something small, and then I get up and make something in about an hour's time, and we all sit down together and eat a bit of that. And then what's the plan today? We'll do a bit of drawing, a bit of colouring. I'm still teaching my daughter to walk, so there'll be some training. And I call it training because I'm a bit regimented like that, so we'll do some training. And it's a nice day, so we'll go out somewhere. We went out yesterday, we'll go out again today somewhere nice, get some lunch, come home, stream again. I just fit my streaming in around it. It's quite nice. I'm quite enjoying doing this full time at the moment. It's good fun. Let's do a few more. Let's do a few more comments here. We were rinsed, Terry, is what Keith Robinson says. Yeah, look, you can think that. That's just your opinion. We don't need to debate that. Terry, has McTominay jumped ahead of Matic? I hope so. Scott McTominay is going to have an absolute stellar season. I've seen him in pre-season, right? And I saw him at the end of last year. Forget his off the field stuff. He's wonderfully articulate. He's a leader. He cares. I think he's strong as well in terms of, I think he's got this strong mind and this strong mentality that's going to propel him. He can use both feet. He can pass. He can break up play. He can tackle. He's getting more of an eye for goal. He's technically very good. And yes, Scotty McT is going to have a big season this year. And I always say this about, I've done this twice now on the Football Index. Go and buy shares in him. If you're on the Football Index, go and buy shares in him. I bought, I think, 40 shares in him last week at £1 each. He's now worth like £1.40, right? And he's going to go up. He'll be a £3 to £4 player by the end of the season. I don't think people realise how good this young lad is. And you know, he was almost one of the poster boys of hate because of the Jose era. And it's really nice to see people now apologising for the way they treated him, how they spoke about him, how they wrote him off. And I still think, look, he's British, got blonde hair, his name's McTominay. So people just think, no, you're not going to be technically good. There is such a bias towards English and British players, and such an attack on the technical ability of them. It's ridiculous. Like if that same bias was applied to players of other nationalities and other sort of denominations, there would be an absolute outcry. And I think the same thing should be said here. It's, you know, the English players are judged so harshly by, you know, Europeans and even by other English people when it comes to football. A lot of the hipsters do it. It's, oh, he's English, so he's this. I don't think people realise how good Harry Maguire is on the ball. Harry Maguire's ability on the ball is sensational. But everyone just, oh, he's a big slabhead because his name's Maguire and he's big and he's English, so he's just a slabhead. It's like, you do realise how, if we're going to have a little woke moment, you do realise how, like, bigoted that is. Because you're from the north of England and your head's quite big and your surname's Maguire, you're just a lump. Can you imagine saying that about somebody else from another country with a different religion maybe, or a different tone of skin? You'd lose your job. You really would. But as I say, it's one of those things that I think we just have to put up with in football. Certain people get abused and other people don't. Super chat here from Roberto Beck. He says, if we sign Bruno and Dybala, De Gea would be the oldest player in the starting lineup at 28 years of age. That is if Scott McTominay starts ahead of Matic, promising. Absolutely. I read yesterday, now with the signing of Maguire, Man United, their predicted starting backline is going to be the youngest in the top six. Man United have got a very young, very talented, very fresh team. And, if we go back a few... And by the way, I don't have any issue with the club bringing in a Mandzukic or bringing in a little bit of experience to balance that. This Dan, who keeps posting pictures of clowns, you're done, bruv. See you later, mate. Because you're not even... If you're going to say something, but you're not saying a word, so you're gone. So, yeah, it's one of those things for me. What was I saying? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the age. So United have developed... I'm not opposed to slightly older players coming in, ever. But what's great about having a team where the average age is going to be quite low, there's going to be lots of players under 25, is that you have 2 or 3 years to grow and build and still have these players in their peak. Another super chat here says, I'm late, but what's going on with Fernandes and a Real Madrid entering the race for him? Sorry if you already went through this. Not a problem at all. Bruno Fernandes situation we are going to touch on with another video a little bit later on in the day. But essentially, with Bruno Fernandes, Spurs have come in for him to try and hijack it. It's not happened. I don't necessarily trust the reports that Real Madrid are coming in. I almost think this is Sporting Lisbon still trying to get more money out of Manchester United. They should just bid the down asking price, get it done, and get it over the line. But what I read yesterday is that the deal is pretty much done with Man United. He's playing in the Portuguese Super Cup tomorrow. Ridiculous, really, but it's happening. And supposedly after the game or first thing on Monday, he's going to be confirmed as a Man United player. But we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Another super chat just coming in here from Charlie Brown, who says, can you do a recap, please? The fact that you have paid and done a super chat, I will do a recap before ending. Oh, sorry, I just deleted your message, and I didn't mean to delete your message. I apologise. Can I get it back? Unhide. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Is it going to pop back up? I literally went to press it to read it, and then I deleted it. There we go. Yeah, sorry, mate. But I will do a recap for you as you've just done a super chat for us. Dybala has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. Lukaku has agreed personal terms with Juve, and the clubs are in agreement regarding the swap deal. Everything is done in regards to that area of this business. Aside from that, there is a bit of an issue with the image rights of the player. Supposedly, he broke a contractual agreement with the FRM company about a year or so ago, and is being sued for £40 million for breach of contract. This company have now contacted Manchester United and are basically saying, we want you or him or somebody to pay this. So it's holding up the deal, because Man United will never buy a player who has any kind of third-party ownership. They will buy, if he's got third-party ownership, they'll buy the player, but they want to have 100% control. That's very, very important for the commercial side and the marketing side. And it also stops situations like this happening later on down the line. So there is a bunch of lawyers from all 3 to 4 parties involved that are trying to get this resolved as we speak. It will delay the move slightly, but these things happen. But according to very credible sources, the likes of Fabrizio Romano and Damasio, who have been absolutely electric with their news, we're going to have a here we go. There's going to be a here we go tweet in the next 24 to 48 hours, in my opinion. Dybala is so close to being a Manchester United player. Be excited, get happy. Maguire's over the line. Dybala next. Let's hope we get that Bruno Fernandes deal done. And then what an amazing transfer window this is for Man United. We're ready for the start of the season. And yeah, you can smell that salt. Take care of yourselves, everyone. God bless, and I'll see you again later on today. Bye bye.